Let's talk about Havok. I gotta tell you, this is a very interesting card. One of the most fascinating that has come out in Marvel Snap in some time. It's a 2/0 that gains +4 power at the expense of 1 energy at the end of every single turn. I mean, on paper, it's an interesting card. Is it actually good? That's what we're here to answer. And the answer is, well, right now it's running about a 45% win rate in early testing, which is around martyr levels. So if that gives you any indication, well then the card's a little sus. However, there is a caveat to that. In my playtesting, I actually kind of liked it. I actually felt like I was doing pretty good. My win rates were far higher than that. I was running in like the low 60s range on a couple of my favorite decks. And honestly, like I felt it had a role to play. Like I was actually kind of surprised that a lot of people were coming in like, oh, this card sucks. And I was like, honestly, I'm kind of enjoying it. But what I will say is that if you're concerned about spending your hard-earned tokens, which you damn well should be, first of all, it's a Series 4 card, so it is 3,000 tokens, which is nice. But the key consideration here is that it requires a whole new approach to deck building and deck design. And so people that were plugging it into existing archetypes were probably being met with frustration and losses, to be completely frank. So what I did is I tried to design some new decks around the idea of how Havok functions, and I feel like I actually hit the mark on a couple of them, and I'll show you them in a second. But overall, is Havok good? Right now, no, but in the future, I feel like as we start to continue to build decks and design around the unique design space that Havok provides, I think you're going to find something interesting, but will it ever really compete at the top of the meta? That's hard to say. A note worth mentioning, however, is that I always recommend that you should never spend your tokens or your spotlight caches on the first day it comes out. Listen, I know you can get the FOMO, you get hyped up about the new card and Nico in the caches as well. But realistically, you only benefit from waiting until the weekend before spending your spotlight caches. I say this all the time, but it bears repeating. The best thing for Havok is to wait. See what comes from the meta, see what decks get crafted over the next couple days, and going into the weekend, you can decide, hey, it's Saturday, Sunday, I'll spend my 3,000 tokens or I'll roll my caches or whatever. Because Havok is a unique card in the sense that no one has an answer for Havok yet. It just doesn't exist because it's such a unique card in the game. So with that being said, I actually think there's some promise here. I actually liked it, right? But I'm not going to give it a recommendation to go and spend your spotlight caches on it because I think it might have a very narrow application that might not be applicable for the most meta relevant decks. And if you're someone who's free to play or you're short on tokens and you're trying to make the best of your resources, this might not be the best use of your resources, right? But time will tell. So be patient. I promise it'll work in the case of Havok. All right, so right off the bat here, we have Have Junk, which was one of my favorite decks that we experimented with Havok. And honestly, it was just a damn good deck. My win rate was in the low 60 percentile range. We had a positive cube rate. We were gaining rank on the ladder. It was great. And the thing about it was that it had multiple winning lines. First of all, it's just a really good Annihilus deck, right? You still have Sentry, you still have Hood. You got the Gobs, right, with Ravonna. Like, it's just a good deck. It just works. You have the disruption of Black Widow, but that's not just it. You have multiple winning lines. You can snap on turn 2 going into turn 3 if you have Psylocke or Ravonna into Havok kicking and Viper. So you use Viper to kick over the Havok and they're just going to leave. That's what happened. We do it, they leave. Every once in a while, I actually had a destroy player destroy the Havok, but then they were still at a disadvantage because they destroyed the Havok, but they also sacrificed an energy already, right? Pretty cool. Playing it on turn 3 doesn't impact you, it impacts only your opponent. And then if they have it for turn 3 the whole game, you just Shang-Chi it and they got nothing to show for, right? Pretty cool. But regardless, it's just a good Annihilus deck with Havok as a splash. Conversely, you can play Havok on turn 5 because most of this deck just operates with 5 energy anyway. There's no 6 drop to use. So therefore, Havok's going to be a 2/8. It's under Shang-Chi range. If it gets Shadow King, it still goes up to 2/4 anyways at the end of the game. And the only thing worth considering is you got to get your Demon out early if you've played your Hood, or else you're wasting your Demon's power if you're playing a Nihilus or Hobgoblin on turn 6. However, what I will say is if you have Ravonna out, you can actually play Hobgoblin and Demon because Hobgoblin is going to cost 4 on turn 6. So the 5 energy and the restrictive energy with Havok never felt like a problem with this deck. It felt very natural with disruption and just using the most of the energy available. I loved this deck. I liked it. And I'm sure that if you experiment with it, you can maybe change, like maybe you get rid of Shang-Chi, right? I just think that Shadow King and Shang-Chi are useful for the blobs in the event that you're against a Thanos player and they have a blob play to make, right? So ultimately though, I really liked this deck a lot. The next deck we'd experimented with was Havok at the Disco, which was a Havok and Wave based deck where you play Wave and Havok on turn 5 in conjunction with one another that allows you to play the Alioth or Doctor Doom on turn 6 because they're going to cost 4 energy, allowing your Havok to continue to rank up, but allowing you to make a turn 6 play. Honestly, the deck was good. What I will say though is that, like, I feel like this shell might actually be really good. It's 3 cards off. I'll explain in a sec. First of all, the cards that are the ones that I'm trying to figure the flex spot out are Lizard, which was good for owning initiative for Alioth, Mr. Fantastic, again, good for owning initiative for Alliance, and then White Queen, which is interesting because I could use it to find out if they have Blobber. I could take a big play, like if I didn't have Alioth or Doom, I could take their big play and play it on turn 6 instead of, trying to top deck something. But I usually had Alioth or Doom anyway. But honestly, these 3 cards are the flex spots, and I think this deck gets better with a different combination of these 3 cards. I don't think I'm quite there yet. I think these are locked in because with Goose, with Wave, with Miss Marvel, with Alioth and Doom, like the Thanos Blob players can't do anything. They can't play in the Storm location. They can't play in the Goose location. I was winning crazy amounts of games because people just could not play their damn Blob anywhere because we controlled the entire thing. Even if they pro-X'd a location. Good job, you won that one, but I won the Storm one, and now you can't play anything in the Goose one, right? So I found that this deck was very successful. But again, if you're building and you're crafting and you're trying to experiment with the Havok, these 3 cards, it's the Lizard, the Mr. Fantastic, and the White Queen. These are kind of the flex spots that I'm trying to figure out, and I'm sure you can do some experimentation with, and let me know in the comments what you find. But honestly, I like this deck a lot. So the next deck we have to talk about is going to be Havok with Mr. Negative. I know there's a lot of excitement about the potential of Havok being with Mr. Negative. We even talked about it on the Snapchat, Cozy and I. And honestly, it does have potential. The deck that ultimately I went with was a Wong-based Jane Foster deck with Black Panther and Arnim Zola that uses Havok. Now, the key thing to note here is that Havok is like a complementary piece to this deck, not the core thing. I still wanted a win condition of a traditional negative style deck with the Black Panther and Wong. I included Ironheart because I felt like it works really well with Jane Foster and gives you that added value with Wong. However, what I will tell you is of all the decks that I experimented with, this was by far the least consistent by like a wide margin, by far the lowest win rate. And we did get a couple like nice 4 and 8 cubers and stuff like that, but generally speaking, like I found it to be very awkward to pilot. Just because, as it is, Mr. Negative is just weird, because if you don't draw negative, you just, like, lose, right? So there's that element to it. But also, it kind of felt like Havok is kind of unnecessary in this deck. Like, why just cut Havok and add Null, and you got yourself a very traditional negative deck that still ultimately is not that meta anyways, right? Does Havok really add that much to this? I don't really think so. But what I will say though is that if you play Jane Foster, you get that Havok, and then you play it out on turn 6, like it's still just a nice value play. And if it gets hit by Ironheart a couple times, and all of a sudden it's a 0-10 or whatever that you played on turn 6, so it does have that potential. But when you consider when you consider Iron Man, Mystique, and all the potential combo plays that Mr. Negative classically has, then I don't know if it really adds that much at the end of the day. But maybe at some point someone comes up with this broken Mr. Negative Havok deck, but I don't know if we're there, and I don't know if we'll see it. So tread carefully with Mr. Negative, because it's one of those archetypes, it's feast or famine, and it might not be for everybody. One other funny note here is if you're kind of interested in seeing what like the auto deck builder does, don't even bother. It makes this absolute trash tier deck. I don't even know what this is. It's like this Bast Havok deck with a top tier card of Bishop. I mean, you're able to play out all your cards, but by golly, did this play absolutely terribly. We tried to test it, and if this was the best on the statistics side, then I don't know what we're doing anymore. This looks like a Martyr deck where Martyr got cut for Havok. So there's a fun note here. Overall, though, I mean, he's not bad. I'm kind of memeing a bit. I'm giving Havok a bit of a hard time. I actually think that he's going to have potential at some point. I think that people are kind of poo-pooing on him more than he deserves. I think there's a couple shells where he's actually pretty strong, but I do preach patience. Wait for the weekend before throwing your keys to the wind. Do not spend your tokens yet. Allow the meta to develop. Regardless, I recorded a bunch of gameplay highlights live on Twitch TV. Definitely check them out. Coming next, and if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. But most important, we have Twitch drops coming tomorrow and this week. If you're not following on Twitch, I'm going to be live for you. Definitely hit the link in the description down below. Follow so that you can get them Twitch drops starting tomorrow. Hope you enjoy these gameplay highlights. Here we go. Okay, Xander's not bad. We got to be careful with Goose, because we probably end up having to play Goose right, because we don't have Zabu yet, so we can't reliably get that Miss Marvel under. But what we effectively want to do is lock down 2 locations and prevent Blob from accessing where they want to play. So we do this. We could even snap here because they're playing a Thanos Blob deck. No, they're not. Actually, it's not Thanos at all.
Wind, aid my hand.
Okay, they're waving. Not what I expected. They're playing wave early, which means that we likely ultimately just play our Dr. Doom down. So we'll still have Goliath if we can hold initiative here. We always play it like this to prevent any sort of Goliath gameplay there. We get Goliath? No, it doesn't matter. We have initiative on time. Legion? Cool. I like the Legion game. Like, it's pretty cool. Unfortunately, that does make us a little more susceptible to whatever their gameplay is, if it involves Blob or not. So now we have Havok again. So we're able to do Havok. I think we just win there. I think we want the extra power here, potentially. No, we probably want it mid. Let's Havok wave here. If we get Goliath, we could potentially have initiative. This is 12 power being added mid. It's a lot of power. Okay, we do this. They go mid. Didn't expect them to actually go mid. They Professor X lockdown. They're going to lose this game. I snap, they leave. Now, and we have Goliath. Okay, so this game's just done. And this is the point of playing wave Havok turn 5. Goliath is 4. We still have energy for Havok. So they just never win. They can't even play there because of the goose. They just lose here. They play, yeah. So yeah, that's the perfect example of what this deck does, to be honest with you. Havok at the disco. All right, so we do have a bit of a line here. If we can top deck Ravonna, we'll have our turn 3 combo play, which is what we're after with this particular deck. Let's see it. Camp Lehigh. With the rogues, actually not bad. Okay, so we do have the combo. We can snap. Psylocke is an alternate condition here. I'm actually going to Psylocke right, just in case this location is disruptive to us being able to play the combo. We're going to snap into Psylocke. We're going to play Havok and Viper together here. And that should be enough to clap this Spooter's cheeks here. Ooh. Actually would have been a favorable location. But this is fine, because we do have Shadow King Shang-Chi. We're able to kind of deal with this here. We got a Brian Patrick, thank you so much for the Prime. Really appreciate your support. The amount of support you guys have been sending tonight has been absolutely remarkable. I appreciate you guys so much. I truly do. Havok comes on over, and it's an Electro Havok game. Oh my gosh. What a weird state of affairs this is. Because now, it's like their Electro doesn't exist, but they just have a Sandman effect. Absolutely crazy. Crazy gameplay here. Wow. Now, oh, and they deathlock. Look at this.
Hardest working man on Twitch. In fact, in the world. Team Squirrel FTW.
Oh, Team Squirrel all the way 100%. I actually am in shock right now what I'm seeing. I'm in shock. I can't believe this. They actually just deathlocked this. Is it a camp? It's from Camp Lehigh. No doubt that they actually got that. That is ridiculous gameplay. We are going to... What do we do here? I think if we hob, do they ever expect a hob on Dark Dimension? Let's do this. Let's do this. This is kind of cute. Not what we want. Now we can do this, to be honest with you. This is not bad. This is not bad. We end up winning here. It's quite a bit of power there. Let's send it for the pure memes. I'm going to fist bump you too, my man. GG's. So let's see what happens here. We do send 2 over there. It's a destroyer. Whoa. Not what I expected. Does the gob win left? No, he doesn't. We lose. Oh my God. What a game. GG's. Okay, that's a fun game. That is a fun game of Marvel Snap. Not only did they Camp Lehigh the Deathlock into destroying both the Electro and the Havok, but they hit us with some straight brewing, man. I love, that's a great loss. I'll take that all day long. Beautiful. What a thing of beauty. We have Pet Mansion, do we? Now, we have a, okay, do we, we don't have Black Widow here. So we're actually going to, do I skip this turn? I think we skip this turn. Okay, armor. Now we can Psylocke into the Hob here. Psylocke into Hob. I mean, if we just play Ravonna, it's probably fine. I mean, we could consider Green Goblin here, but then we're off tempo. So we didn't really draw into our cards as effectively as we would have liked here. So we got an ongoing player. Okay, I respect this. I respect this a lot. Like, I'm happy to see players kind of outside the standard meta here, and I think we're seeing that right now. They're snapping on me, are they? Okay. Well, I think what we're going to do here is we are going to Ravonna. We're going to split it up here, I think. We're going to Ravonna Psylocke to see if we can hold initiative for a second. Is that Ravonna? I'm not sure. It's Ravonna, so we end up getting the energy there, which is fine. We have Sentry. Now remember, we can Sentry here, Sentry Havok, and then we can Annihilus, and they're pretty in big trouble. Now we can also consider playing Sentry on the Cosmo. But instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to Sentry and I'm going to Havok here. Let's see his effect here. It's our first game with Havok. Pretty cool effect. Pretty cool effect. Play Havok here. And then what we can do next turn is we can Annihilus and it'll send that over. I would consider snapping back. I think we're at an advantage here, but I'm not interested in having them retreat. I want to see this play out. Pro X. Nice whiff there. That's a big sad play. So I think they are going to definitely lose here. We're going to see Havok come out here. Havok destroys an energy, gets the +4. I think they are in huge trouble here. I don't see a play for them at all. Yep, they're gone. So what you're seeing right there is a successful play of Have Junk, and we're going to Annihilus send it over there. But Havok right off the top, turn 5 goes to 4. Turn 6, he's going to be a 2/8. And what's interesting about that as well is that we really only need, like, we don't need the extra energy on turn 6, right? We're playing Annihilus, we're playing whatever else with 5 energy. I've been really excited about playing Nightcrawler again. Nightcrawler, Jeff, they're very confident plays into like other locations where you can just kind of throw them out there and see what happens, right? My impressions of Havok thus far have been he's niche, but overall a positive experience. I've been liking Havok. But playing a Lizard out early against a Thanos player is kind of hard to do as well. So they're going to have their Time Stone now. So Time Stone's going to be a factor. They always play into this Nebula. Whatever. I think Storm here is fine long term. I do think that storming the Nebula location is always fine. Also, we would play Nightcrawler because now we can move the Nightcrawler out for the Miss Marvel buff, right? Yeah, we've been playing nothing but Thanos players. Nothing but Thanos players. And that's why we have things like Goose in this deck, right? Like, we need to be able to contend with that. Of course, they drew their Mind Stone because they've been drawing nothing but everything they need the entire game. They basically just drew through their entire deck. So they're going to have Professor X to drop down. Now, the advantage that we have is we know they're going to Pro X left or mid. They're not going to Pro X right. We're going to have to move the Nightcrawler, though, I think. They're snapping because I think they're going to drop Pro X mid. He always has Professor X. I think we do this. It's Pro X mid. Yeah. It's fine. We have his blob. We play Goose. We're going to snap Goose Havok. We know they're trying to play blob. The problem is Devil Dinosaur. Devil Dinosaur is what kills us, right? So Jeff, but now, unfortunately for them, they can't play again here. Now, Blarvel will beat us. Blue Marvel's the big question mark, but he can't play Blue Marvel because of Goose. Right? So this Nebula goes up by 2. Beats Yeah, they can't play their game. They have to leave. Yeah, I think they're in trouble. I'm telling you right now, in this meta, Goose is god tier, and they've lost. So Goose perfect here. Goose Havok completely destroyed them, right? And I think Goose is probably one of the most slept on cards right now into this meta because people are locking down locations with Pro X. We're locking down the Storm Nebula location, which is fine. But then they're like, hey, we're going to play Blob. And we know they're going to play Blob because we played the White Queen, and then they can't because of Goose. It's beautiful. And the Havok is sitting at a 6 already. He's going to go to 10 next turn, right? It's I don't know. I feel like these Thanos players we're playing against, we're able to favorably match against them, which is really nice. I think him and I are playing the exact same deck, except I have their Zebu. A lot of fist bumps. I like this positive energy from our opponent here. Oh, I love that Psylocke as well. Oh! Disaster. We are playing the same deck. I can't even believe this. Okay, hold on. We gotta actually think this through for a sec. Is there a world where we Zola Havok? I don't think we can. I think we play Magic and just keep floating double Havok. I think that's the only play. We just float double Havok nonstop. We Magic, we go 2 Havocs on turn 4 and just let them munch our energy. Okay. We're playing I think we have to. This is the meme. I think we have to do this. There is no choice. This is the only option. This is actually hilarious. So if he won't be able to eat all the energy, well, we're going to find out because we're going to be at like 1. It's going to get stuck at 1, right?
I am.
So they have Iron Man. We just double Havok. So there's 1 energy gone. So I guess we Zebu for the fun of it? Wait. We'll never get to play Jane Foster. We'll never have to play anything, actually. They're going hard on this Mystique.
I am.
Kind of wish I would be able to Zola. I can't believe this. So now we have 2. We float. The question's going to happen, like, what happens next? How many Iron Mans do they have? Oh my gosh, I got their Havocs, they got my Iron Mans, and they just Ironheart. That's my Ironheart. How dare you? So we strictly tie that location? Oh my god. So we don't know if he's going to get bigger or not. Either way, he still just ties. So it's like, can we beat 4 mid? We have to send. We're going to lose. We have to lose. We have to do it for the science. They have 2 cards in their hand. There's no way we win this game, right? We have to lose. We send for science. Frank, we send it. Oh, we lose. Oh, we confirm that Havok has to actually destroy an energy to win. We did the science. Frank Puddle, GG's. We did the science. So yes, Havok does require the energy to actually destroy. So double Havok doesn't actually work if no energy is available. Science has been completed. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.